My name's Audrey Majors, I go by Galileo, and I'm currently a senior at Catherine Ann Porter School. I left from Austin on January 5th, from which I flew to San Francisco and then to Melbourne. And from Melbourne, I went to South Australia, and I stayed with my host family in a little town called Goolwa. So when I was with my host family, I actually had a host sister who came from New Zealand. So she was experiencing something very close to home, and I was experiencing something very far away from home. And so it was very interesting to have that kind of comparison of someone who's just a skip over the lake, as everyone says, versus someone from Texas. And my host family was very nice. Their names were Tony and Deb. And they took us on very last minute because they just had both of their kids move out. They had two girls who were grown up, and so whenever we came to visit them, it was a good excuse for them to get out of the house and go do things again and go have fun with the teenagers. And so we did a lot of silly things. We had a lot of fun with them. We went and walked around the zoo, and that was very interesting, seeing all of their wildlife there. It's all so rich, and like the birds, you look outside at the birds in Texas and they're brown and white and black, but the birds in Australia, you look outside and they're pink and blue and yellow, and it's just like, oh, what's that one called? What's that one called? And they're like, why do you care about these birds? It's very different how rich their wildlife is there. And so I spent about 10 days with my host family just exploring Goolwa, and Goolwa's about an hour from Adelaide, so also exploring Adelaide. And then from there, we drove about an hour and a half to meet everyone at the camp with all the other kids. And we had 9 kids, we had 5 girls and 4 boys, and all of the girls' first language was English, and all of the guys was not. And so it was a challenge to figure out how to get to know each other. And what we ended up doing was I had brought 2 decks of cards, and so we used those deck of cards, and we started out by just playing spoons with like 11 people. We had some of the adults join. So we were just playing spoons for about 4 hours that first night. And then some of the guys from Mongolia, we had 2 guys from Mongolia, and they decided to teach us the Mongolian version of spoons. And so then we spent the whole first night, we stayed up until like 1 a.m. teaching each other how to play the card games from the places where we lived. When we were with the camp, we went paddleboarding at some point, and I've been paddleboarding before, just on the Blanco River here. So I expected, maybe like a 30-minute paddleboard down a stream and then we'll paddle back. No, this was a 2-hour paddleboard on the ocean with everyone, and so we went 2 hours there and 2 hours back. And doing that with people who have never paddleboarded before was an experience, but it was amazing because once we got to the cove that we were paddleboarding to, the reason they took us there was because that's where a lot of the stingrays just lay and rest there. And so I kind of split off because they know I hadn't fallen off my paddleboard, and so I kind of split off from everyone to hopefully just float and see one so that way they didn't get scared away. And then one just came up and just swam like a foot under my paddleboard, and I love stingrays, and so that was like what am I supposed to do? All I can do is look at it. I don't have my phone out. But we all just split off and we're just looking at all of the animals and the fish and everything underneath our paddleboard because the coast there is crystal clear. You can see everything. It's nothing like a Texas coast, and so that was a very cool experience. And then afterwards, it turns out that people were flying their drones above us, taking drone pictures of us. So we found them on social media afterwards, and we found those drone pictures. And so I am so appreciative of going on this trip. My whole life have thought about traveling internationally, and so having this opportunity, being able to go and do it, and be able to do it by myself and show to myself, this is possible. You can go and live the way that you want. I appreciate it so much. I met so many people. I learned so many things. I met so many other lions while I was there. It's a great experience, and I hope that next year as many kids sign up as they can, because I don't think people take advantage of this enough. It's such a good experience. I'm very grateful. Have faith in the people around me, but also just have faith in myself. It'll probably be okay. Even if you have to rely on someone else, it will be okay.
Hi, my name is Trinity Rivera. I graduated from Wimbley High School class of 2023, and I will be attending Berry College in Rome, Georgia this fall. So I left July 7th from Austin Airport, and I went to Detroit, Michigan, and then to Paris, and I finally arrived in Bari, Italy on July 8th, and my host family picked me up and took me to Foggia, Italy. So when I arrived, my host family picked me up and took me to their home in close to city center of Foggia, Italy. And we had a nice first dinner with many traditional dishes of the area. And it was very nice to meet my host family, as well as there was another Turkish exchange student with the host family that was related to mine. And we all ate dinner together like one big family. The next day, we went and visited the Matinata. It's a coastal area, and we took a boat and traveled the coast. They showed me some of the important grottos and caves in the area that are world famous. And then we went and visited the city of Matinata and learned a little bit about the area there. The next day we traveled and saw some churches and historical monuments, and throughout my time with them I saw the Foggia area. Monte San Angelo is a famous church on a mountain, and I went with my next host family to Taranto, Italy. With them, I saw many museums. I had two host sisters, and I got to meet their friends and really become ingrained in their culture. I got to learn about the history of the area, but I also did some volunteer projects with them. I helped with a little girl donating her hair to cancer patients, and as well as we had some fun activities with some people with disabilities on the beach, just to help them feel included and have fun just like everyone else. I went with my third family, and my third family was in Lecce area, and we went to Castro a lot. They live right next to Castro, Italy. That was a famous beach area, and we got to tour the area, see some churches and cities. We went to Lecce city center and saw ancient Colosseum and other historical monuments in the area, as well as I met other exchange students with them. Then I went to a camp with 15 other people from around the world in different countries, and there with them I explored many historical places. I did volunteer service. We cooked dinner for other people, and we got to see the Trulli houses with the interesting architecture. I learned a lot with them. After that, we had one last dinner of Parade of Nations, and we all got to speak where we're from and say one last goodbye to our host families. And then I took off from Bari Airport and went back to Paris, and then Detroit, and finally back home in Austin on July 29th. It was definitely a life-changing experience, and the people and the memories I'll keep with me forever, and I'm still in contact with my host families, and I hope to remain too. I want to thank the Lions so much for making this experience possible. It was definitely the most memorable experience I've been a part of, and educational. I've got to expand my mindset and get to meet people and do so much that I wouldn't be able to do without them. I'm very grateful for the experience that made possible through the Lions Club. I got to learn about a beautiful culture. I learned so much about the people, the food, their religion. It was truly a beautiful experience. I learned about people from other countries, from Turkey, from Germany, all the different cultures and viewpoints, and we got to speak about all of that, as well as I learned a lot about the history of Europe in general, and all the different people who occupied that area, and I've made long-lasting connections.
Hi, my name is Maeve Galloway, and I'm an upcoming senior at CAPS, and I plan to attend Texas State University in fall of 2024. I left on June 23rd from Austin Airport, and I flew to JFK in New York, and I had a 4-hour layover there, and then I took a flight from there to Rome, and then I had a 2-hour layover there, and then I flew from Rome to Sardinia. Once I landed in Sardinia, my host family, they came and they picked me up and took me back to their house, and we just kind of got to know each other a little bit. It was a little unexpected at first just because we were getting used to, they didn't speak a lot of English and I didn't speak a lot of Italian, so the first day was a little difficult with that, but over the days that I was there, we were able to figure out ways to communicate with each other and form bonds, even though we couldn't really speak very well with each other. While I was in Sardinia, we kind of just did like family stuff. We went and hung out with their family, and we went to the beach and just sight saw all around Sardinia. And I was actually able to meet a few of the other exchange program kids that were there and hang out with them before we went to the actual camp. At the camp, we went and we toured Rome. We went and saw the city center and visited the Colosseum and Vatican City and saw the Vatican museums. And we did a lot of water trekking and hiking and visiting smaller towns around Rome and just seeing all of the beauty that Italy has to offer. And then I finally came home with all these memories and new life experiences that I'd gained on the trip. I learned that I have the confidence and the ability to make friends with people all over the world, and I can travel and do things on my own. I would absolutely love to thank the Lions Club. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that I would not have been able to do if it weren't for the Lions Club. I'm so grateful to them for them coming to CAPS and letting us have these kinds of experiences that CAPS kids don't usually get offered. And so I really want to thank them for giving me this opportunity and allowing me to go and see and meet people that I wouldn't have been able to meet otherwise.
Hello, my name is Tristan Jones. I graduated Wimberley High School back in May. I'll be attending Blinn College in the fall this year. I went to Belgium with the Lions Club. I left June 7th, traveled from Houston, flew directly to Frankfurt and with a family friend. And from there I traveled around Germany, and then I traveled through Austria and Italy for about a month. And then after that month, I traveled from southern Germany and took a train all the way up to Antwerp to meet with my first host. His name was Mr. Herbrandt, and I explored Antwerp and the surrounding areas with him for about a week. And then from there, he took me to Knakkehuis on the coast of Belgium, it's up near the border of the Netherlands. And from there, he dropped me off with my second host family, and I was there for a week with 3 other exchange students, just hanging out there, swimming in the sea, sailing, doing a whole bunch of activities. And from that week, they took me and the other exchange students down to Brussels to meet with the camp. And in the camp, I met a whole bunch of other people from a bunch of different nationalities, from Turkey, from Brazil, from the United States, all around the country and the world. And we spent 2 weeks together just seeing all over Belgium, and that was an experience of a lifetime. I learned a whole bunch about their cultures, the culture of Belgium. I learned a lot about the food and just the people. One of my favorite parts was just the free time we had in Brussels. We got about 7 hours of free time there, and me and a couple of the other guys from the program, we just explored all over the city, and that was one of my favorite parts, just eating some of the local foods, going to some of the shops, going to a bunch of places. Went to the EU Parliament building. We went to one of the biggest malls. I forget the name of it. It was a huge mall. That was really cool. And I really my favorite part of the trip and that experience was just meeting all the people in the camp and enjoying all the things. I made some really close friendships, and I'm still in contact with all the people I was with. And that was really enjoyable. I really loved doing that. And it was a really wonderful experience, and I'm very thankful for the Lions Club for allowing me to experience all this. So thank you very much to the Lions Club and all of you that were able to send me there.